When the rains and floods had ceased, Nuh and his companions descended at a mount named Judi. The children of Adam again started to spread all over the world. They implemented the sovereignty of Allah in all aspects of their lives and lived in peace and tranquility. With the passage of time, they brought variations to the laws of Nuh and gradually fell back to the age of problems of fasad and safakutima. Over the next thousands of years, Allah continued to send Nabis and messengers from Him to every civilization. The messenger Ibrahim was sent at a time when Namrud had rejected the sovereignty of Allah and declared himself Rabb. Ibrahim and his followers tried in vain to call Namrud and his people towards Tawheed. They rejected his call and threw Ibrahim into a blazing fire, but Allah in His mercy caused the fire to turn into a cooling breeze for Ibrahim. In his false pride and arrogance, Namrud threw an arrow at Allah. As punishment for his audacity and rejecting the call of Tawheed, Allah caused Namrud destroyed all told. After this, the deen of Allah was established and Allah honored Ibrahim as a preferred messenger. Of the two sons of Ibrahim, Ismail settled in Makkah while Isaac settled in Hebron, Palestine. The family of Isaac was blessed by a series of Nabis, among whom was Yaqub, also known as Israel. With the passage of time, however, the Bani Israelis deviated from Tawheed and as punishment were turned into the slaves of the pharaohs. A long time later, the Almighty took pity on their enslavement and sent the messenger Musa, who urged the worshippers of Ra to accept the sovereignty of Allah, to accept La ilaha illallah, there is none to be obeyed other than Allah, but to no avail. At one point, Musa gathered the Bani Israelis and set out to free them from their captors. When they reached the shores of the Red Sea, Allah ordered Musa to strike the water with his staff. As he did so, the waves parted to make a dry way for them to walk over. When the Pharaoh and his army reached the shores in their pursuit, they saw Musa and his people crossing over. But no sooner had the Pharaoh with his army stepped into the walkway than the waves crashed in on them from both sides and drowned them. However, despite this major miracle, Mu'jiza from Allah, and numerous other miracles, there was no lasting effect on the collective character of the Bani Israelis. Even while the messenger Musa was present among them, they took to worshipping of the calf. Time and again they continued to commit major transgression and cross the limits set by Allah. Allah continued to give them chances to rectify their ways through series of messengers. However, they refrained from mending their errors, and after Musa, there was not a single messenger from Allah that the Bani Israelis accepted universally. One after another messenger from Allah gave up his life in their cruel hands. In this manner, the Bani Israelis were responsible for the deaths of countless Nabis and an unknown number of Mu'mins, believers. Owing to the curse put on them by David or Daud alayhi salam, the Bani Israelis were long since enslaved by pagan Romans when the last messenger among them, Isa alayhi salam, was sent. Although they still claimed to accept the laws of the Torah, the alims or learned elders of the faith had caused it to lose the balance with their excessive analysis of the practical side. It was to restore this balance between the spiritual and practical aspects of the faith that Allah sent Messenger Jesus or Isa, who first and foremost reiterated his faith in the laws Sharia brought by Musa. He reaffirmed that he had been sent for the wayward sheep of the Bani Israelis and forbid his disciples to preach to any persons of different faith. For this reason, the pagan rulers saw no threat to their position by his preaching. Instead, he incurred the wrath of the Jewish clergy, the rabbis, Pharisees and the Sadducees, who had made their living from spelling religious decrees. They were the same clergy that had turned the holy temple, Baitul Muqaddas, into their business center. The messenger Isa sought to bring an end to their unscrupulous practice, to the profound control they yielded over the general mass, thus turned into a major thorn in their side. On one hand, they convinced the Roman rulers that Isa posed a great threat to their position, and on the other, they propagated among the people that he was a renegade and a magician. It was as if Lucifer, Iblis himself, was manifest among the so-called clergy. When Isa's close companion Judas Iscariot sold his master for a mere 30 coins, Allah caused Isa to be bodily removed from this earth, and the traitor Judas was made to look identical to him. As punishment for his hypocrisy, Judas was the one to meet his death on the cross. After Isa's departure, Palestine became a very dangerous place for his disciples, who then fled to nearby different areas. Sometime after this, an erstwhile Jew named Paul claimed to bring faith in Isa's teachings. However, in light of his consequent actions, the true motive for his conversion is put to doubt. The messenger Isa was only sent for the Bani Israelis, and as such, he forbade his disciples to even approach anyone outside their group. Yet, this was exactly what Paul started to do. He convinced the other disciples to follow him into bringing people of other faiths into a new religion they called Christianity. As it was very difficult and dangerous for them to preach this revised new version among the Bani Israelis in Palestine, Paul and his group then set out to convert people of different European areas to this faith. At that time, most of Europe were worshippers of different gods and goddesses, and even natural elements. They realized this new faith was far better in comparison to their existing ideas, and gradually most of Europe, along with the elite ruling class, converted to the new religion called Christianity.
Dear friends, we hope that it is now clear before you how devil Iblis has lured mankind into straying from the Siratul Mustaqim, the Tawheed sent from Allah, and slithered into pits of injustice, inequality, repression, and turmoil in their social lives. They perverted faith to suit their ends. Allah, in His mercy, has sent long chains of messengers, Nabis and Rasuls, to retain mankind within the folds of Tawheed. Whenever a new messenger has arrived, with clear-cut proof from Allah. It has always been the clergy type from among the followers of the existing faith that turned out as the severest opponents of the new messenger. In this way have emerged many new religions. However, the faith of Christianity did not occur following this pattern. It seems to have followed a carefully thought-out plan altogether. If anyone brings faith in a particular Nabi or Rasul, it would be logical to think that he would respect and abide by the limits or regulations set by that Nabi himself. But Paul did exactly the opposite of what Isa alayhi salam had preached and insisted upon spreading the religion of Christianity among people outside the Bani Israelis. In course of time, it is this Pauline Christianity that gave birth to the hardcore materialistic society, which the Messenger of Allah has described as the Dajjal. The Messenger of Allah has placed immense importance on the gravity of the Dajjal. Therefore, to get a clear understanding of his mission and the stress he has imparted on this particular issue, let us try to gauge the situation of his time and the objectives of his arrival.
The progeny of Ismail ﷺ, the son of Ibrahim ﷺ, were the inhabitants of the city of Makkah in Arabia. Throughout a long history of thousands of years, the changes they brought in the Sharia of Ismail had left little in resemblance to the actual faith. The house of the one God, Kaaba, was humiliated with the presence of numerous idols of various gods and goddesses. Yet they still claimed to be the followers of Ibrahim, said their prayers as taught by him, performed the Hajj and observed Sawm. They called themselves Abdullah, or the servants of Allah. They invoked the blessings of Allah before starting anything new, and even circled the Kaaba chanting Labbaik, Allahumma Labbaik. Despite all this, in their collective social lives, they had forsaken the directives of the Almighty and governed their lives in accordance to the regulations and rules imposed by the ruling class, mainly the Quraysh. In this situation, the Almighty fulfilled His promise to the progeny of Ibrahim and sent the most revered of all messengers into the family of Ismail. As a young child, Rahmatan lil Alameen was raised in the wild beauty of the deserts. Till the proclamation of the message, Nabuwat, he enjoyed a most honored and enviable position among the Makkans as the As-Sadiq, the truthful one. Yet, everything changed for him when the duty of a messenger from Allah was laid on his shoulders. No sooner had he declared La ilaha illallah, there is none to be obeyed other than Allah, no claimant of sovereignty save him, than the Makkans turned their backs on him. The person who for 40 years had been known to them as Al-Amin became